All right, all right. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Hoop Chatter, the official AboveMAX podcast. I'm Art Morrison III here with Kevin Tarca. And as always, I'm super pumped because this is episode 20, I think 28, bro. Yeah.
At least. Yep.
No, it's episode 27. So we were one ahead last time. We kept saying 26 and 27.
Okay.
It was actually 25 and 26. So this is episode 27 of Hoop Chatter. Thank you all who have been like dedicated and I don't know, subscribing, listening, sharing, anything to help us grow this podcast. I can't believe it's already episode 30. But without further ado, I wanted to dive right into, and our third co-host, Rob, is not here. If you guys have not noticed, it is just Tarca and I here today. Rob couldn't make it, but that's okay because Tarka and I have a special subject that we kind of share some experiences with, and we're excited to share them all with you. We wanted to talk about the journey to becoming a professional basketball player. Now, Tarka probably has more experience than me simply because he works with like over a dozen now, right? Over a dozen professional athletes because obviously he is an agent. That is his profession full time. And then I myself had the experience of playing about 2.5 years professional basketball overseas. So I listened to an excerpt, Tarka, that I saw from an IG live that you did. I want to play it for everyone real quick to get it going because that's really going to be the basis of this entire episode. Everyone take a listen.
It's hard to tell a guy that just dominated in college, even if he's at a NAIA or D2. Like, look, man, it's not how, everyone will think, okay, everyone has the NBA dream. Cool. Not killing dreams, reach for the stars. I do every day, but also have a little bit of reality. And then it's like, okay, if I'm not going to the NBA, I'll just make the G League. Trust me, no, you won't. If I'm not making the G League, it's like I'm going, I'll just go to Barcelona and, we'll just sip some wine and go to the beach and play. Like, that's not how it works. No. So they also don't understand that you might be in Slovakia or in Russia, and it's going to be negative 20 degrees. No one's going to speak your language. You're going to have to find a way to practice. You're not going to get paid on time. The coach doesn't speak English. And you're just like, whoa, what? Yeah, that is what being a pro is. That is how you take those steps overseas to earn your money. If you're not an NBA guy or an NBA radar guy, buckle up because it's a tough path.
Buckle up.
I remember saying that, man, and I was like, oh, okay, I came off aggressive, but it's real, man. Like, buckle up. Like, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Bro, it's aggressive, man. I honestly want to start off. I want to ask you, like, where did that whole mentality is spot on. And I remember when I played overseas, trying to explain that to people, whether it was people behind me trying to play or even people who had this expectation and were looking at me like I lived that NBA G League life you talked about, or, on the beach in Barcelona, which actually had a good setup. We'll get into a little bit. But people had these high expectations, and I had to break down basically everything you broke down. That's why I was going crazy. I shared it on IG. I'm like, yo, this guy's preaching right now.
I mean, there's so many. It opens up so many conversations, man.
Right.
But like I had to learn that the hard way though, because as an agent, getting into the game, obviously I was a little bit aware. I spent a lot of time overseas, but then when I actually got a client and a player, I'm like, I know this dude is good. Like, I wouldn't be wasting my time with dudes that can't ball, right? Mm-hmm. They're a good dude. They can play basketball and they can play at the next level. And not that they couldn't play at the next level, but I learned that there's like, you have to be a certain level of good. Otherwise, there's levels to it and you have to play the game. And it goes from like almost 0 to 100. It's like, you're either that NBA guy, and if you're not, here's what you got to be willing to do to get there. And like, obviously we can have a chat about your experience because you did that, right? Yeah. That was kind of that path of what you were willing to sacrifice, where you went. But it's just, and again, it's not just for being a pro. Obviously all this stuff relates to being a pro, but I think it just speaks volumes to expectation versus reality and
right.
The reason why people do it, got to get that D1 scholarship, got to be a pro. And it's a crazy topic that I've been actually very passionate about speaking about during this quarantine time, during all these presentations, because no one understands it. Everyone hears what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. And when I said buckle up, I got hyped. Like, that's what they need to hear.
Yo, absolutely. I mean, so like me growing up as a kid, it was very obvious, especially like we came up like right when social media was kind of bubbling. So like our big social media baby was probably YouTube, right? So
Yeah.
That was kind of the era where I can see a kid in Ohio, right, who's only a couple years older than me, LeBron James, right, or John Wall or Derrick Rose, these crazy talents, and I could say to myself, okay, this makes me want to work hard, but also be realistic and say, all right, if that's NBA, let me work my way up. So I was self-aware enough to like understand that in 8th grade, 9th grade, when you start hearing these names and seeing them. Now kids also have that ability with social media and everything. But I say all that to say, bro, is like, if you, like when I was working toward that level, it never really dawned on me that even what I was shooting for might not be everything that I dreamed of, if that makes sense. So like,
Absolutely
I went to play Division 1, I landed D2. I wrote in my book, I didn't even like celebrate, like I didn't have a signing day or anything like that for when I signed to go to college, because it wasn't like what I wanted. And I didn't even really like soak in that moment because I had these like crazy expectations that I missed the reality. I completely missed the reality that I got a full scholarship to play basketball.
So you're telling me that you didn't narrow it down to 27 schools and then 15 schools and then 12 schools and then 10 schools and then
post
make
an
an
Instagram
announcement?
post that said top 5 with like me in 5 different jerseys? Nah, didn't do all that. I should have, right? Then I would have something to show for it now. But I like almost was unsatisfied. And then the same thing goes for playing in Europe, man. Like I tell everyone, I famously sent 1,600 emails, bro, like on multiple occasions, all to get 2 contract offers, and one of them was like for food and lodging, no money, and the one I accepted was for like, you know, $1,000 a month. I think I ended up getting like $2,000 a month, right? I got a place, I got a car, I got a meal plan. Like people don't even know like that, you know what I mean? I'm being candid here, but like I knew like, all right, this is part of the grind though.
Definitely. I mean, you lived it, but you know, it's hard to explain. Again, just like we heard, it's hard to explain to someone. And you know, you were self-aware enough to realize, okay, you were good at basketball and you thought you could play at the next level, but you were self-aware enough to realize you weren't, you know, ACC, you know, all ACC first team or a
Right.
Division I guy that was like, you know, so, but you did well in college. So it's hard to tell a guy that did well no matter what level they're at, like, hey, start over, you know, like, but I also
Right.
tell them, be real with yourself. I honestly don't care that you were first team all freaking region or you were the 3rd all-time assist leader. It's not to take it away from you, and I'm not being a dick here. That's a huge accomplishment. Congrats. But in the realm of how that can help you get a job or what that matters at the next level, it doesn't mean shit. Like, you have to re-earn it. So you might as well hear that now before you get surprised if you get lucky enough to get over there and it's not what you expect.
Yo, it's like, even if you're in the job market, so like, all right, when I first started playing professional, obviously I jumped in every pro-am and like professional space you could. So whether it be exposure camps, just open runs, right? Summer league games, right? Drew League, Shy League, Tri-State Classic, right? All the ones that now you see them all over Instagram. So I'm playing with NBA guys or guys that played pro for 10 years. And, you know, they're validating me. I'm seeing like, yeah, I'm at this level. And a small part of me was like, I could play in the NBA, which honestly, bro, like we all see NBA talent. Like I probably could survive a game, right? But that level of like actually being an NBA player, bro, there's levels to it. I would have to work so hard for 6 points in an NBA game as opposed to someone who maybe is 6'6" like me, 210 pounds, right? Shoots a little better, dribbles a little better. Bro, they're going to sleepwalk into that, and their potential is that much higher. And NBA guys aren't looking at, oh, you were honorable mention, you know, all CACC Division II. There's no shot. There's even if I transcend and like just kill it at whether it's professional or whatever, at the end of the day, my resume is what my resume is, right? So if there's someone identical to me and they're at Seton Hall, they're gonna have a better shot and a more realistic shot. And I can't be mad because I killed him in open runs in Jersey, you know, but he got this opportunity. And then that person can't be mad when someone from Kentucky, right, who was like 3rd off the bench in Kentucky, you know what I'm saying? Like there's levels for
comparison is the thief of all joy.
Yes.
I mean, it's an entire topic I go down, and you can get down the rabbit hole going on this topic, but it's like it's true. The second that you compare, I don't care that you beat that dude for 4 years in college.
Yeah.
I get it. I think you're better than him too, but guess what? He got lucky and he got a job. Or maybe you should sign with that agent that helped him out because maybe he can help you. That's fine. And the other thing that you touched upon that it just boggles my mind every time. And it's obviously the same topic, compares the thief of all joy. Last week I had a call with, obviously I won't say names or schools or whatever, non-Division I guy, who's, I was kind of doing a favor for a coach that said, would you talk to him and give him some insight? And I was going through the typical questions, trying to get a feeling for him. And he's like, well, I said, look, I think you're good. I think you could potentially have a career, but here's what you got to do. Sacrifice a couple $100, $1,000 overseas a month.
Right.
And then work your way up. And he was like, well, I don't know if I really see myself going that path. I said, wow, like, where do you see yourself going? And, he was like, well, I work out with an NBA player. I'm like, cool. What does that mean? I work out with an NBA player. And well, my coach said he can get me in front of the Raptors coaching staff. And I said, man, you got to have a seat. If you're not sitting, sit, because I'm going to tell you something that you need to hear. And it's just like that. I don't give a shit. And guess who else doesn't give a shit? To be really honest with you, the Raptors staff.
They super don't.
So, and this is just that translation of the pro. But again, I know we have some other people listening that want to get that scholarship or that, like you have to be lucky in timing at some point on your career as well. So I don't care that this kid that you were beating got a Division I scholarship. I don't care that this kid that you were beating got a contract in Spain. It's just, that's part of life. And if you're not okay with that, then like you're going to have a tough time. If you can't focus on you and your path and your journey and be the best version of you instead of comparing you to someone else, then you're in for a long life, really.
I always say preparation plus opportunity equals success, right? So
I like that.
Yeah, so like we can prepare and we like go super hard constantly. That's great. I tell everyone like you have to do it. The opportunity part is only 50% in your control, man. Like I remember, I spent thousands of dollars after my second year, halfway through, going to exposure camps and all the stuff you can possibly spend money on, new agents, all of that. And it didn't happen. I knew I was good enough by that point, so it wasn't like my talent. But I also knew like I had 2 years college basketball under my belt, right? No freshman year, virtually no senior year because it tore my knee, right? I also knew that like my highlights or my numbers that were great were second league Portugal, right? So like, even if you're a professional team, and this is specific to me, but like if you're a professional team looking at Art Morrison and you're like, he averaged 18 points in second league Portugal. This person averaged 16 points in the Big East. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a no-brainer, you know what I mean? And I try to explain that to my kids all the time because again, comparisons to the thief of all joy, AAU especially, you play everyone all the time, especially in the area. So yeah, you have games where you gave him 18 points or 20. But that player, and me as a coach probably sees it more. I kind of had this gift to always see it, and you do too, obviously as an agent, right? Talent acquisition. So like some people just have that it factor, bro, that you don't have.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I remember even when we were playing AAU, you remember being in 8th grade and someone being on the other team and you just know, A, that kid's either 5 years older and lying, or B, that's a Division I player or a future NBA player. They just move different, right? They're just, and I can't wait to talk to Sean about this on the next episode, but they just have that physical ability that everyone doesn't have, right? They just have that. Even being a pro, we don't talk about the intangibles of like understanding like this is what I do. This is my job. This isn't like a hobby or like, again, sipping a beer on the beach in Barcelona, getting paid $1,500 a month, right, to score 15 points a game. It's not that, because even that, there's guys overseas, bro, that get stuck there. They don't even understand that that's like a stepping stone.
For 4 or 5 years.
For 4 or 5 years, right? And then they're 30 and they come home and it's like, man, I pretty much just wasted 5 years of my life. I mean, you get the experience, but
unless you go into it with the mindset of this is the experience. And that's the tough part to kind of, I guess for people that don't understand it or have not experienced it to actually understand.
Yeah. Yep. When I nipped it in the bud and I, started my company, my youth basketball training organization, and all that good stuff that I do now, it was because I tell the story all the time. My roommate, when I was overseas, was on like his 6th year playing for that team, 2nd league, getting like an okay check. You know what I mean? Same check as me. It's my 1st year, right? 2nd year. I'm like, 6 more years of this? He doesn't even have goals and aspirations. I was waking up lifting. I'm like, this isn't good enough. I want to make it to Turkey. And like, he was just stuck in that mode. And for me, it was like, man, okay, I had a goal to do this. I did it. And I was over it so quick, bro. Like just the whole thing, even the off season of like that anxiety of not knowing if you're going to, get a contract. So anyway, I nipped it in the bud quick. I said, I did it. I got the experience because that's really all I wanted, right? And I changed paths quickly. And now I'm here, I guess, podcasting with you and coaching kids and all of that. But I leveraged that 2.5 years of playing professional basketball into virtually everything that I do now, which is a whole nother thing that I know you love to speak on, is like milking the game for all it has to offer.
Yeah, I mean, using basketball as a stepping stone to other opportunities, whether you're using AboveMAX basketball camps as a stepping stone to opportunities for you to get a summer job, or whether you're using, high school basketball or college basketball to propel you to the next level, or whether you're using basketball overseas or as a pro to build relationships that are going to open up doors for everything outside of basketball. And that's the big piece, especially with the overseas game, that people don't understand, is that if you spend, I think we touched on this on one of the podcasts, but let's just say if you spend, 2 or 3 years in random countries, name any country. I don't care if you're talking about, Romania or Hungary or Portugal or Kazakhstan. If you spend 2 seasons there and you develop halfway decent relationships and you really use that experience, and if you do pull the plug on your playing career and you want to go home and sit on your couch and build a t-shirt business, then you have some relationships overseas that could be your clients that you actually use basketball as a stepping stone to open up other opportunities. And that's just, I would think that you would agree, a very simple, plain vanilla example of how you can use that. But I mean, to experience the world, to do all those other outside intangibles is like, man, you have to take more advantage of it. If you go into it and you don't have that mindset, then you're not going to have a fun time.
Yeah. And that goes even, from middle school, AAU, your whole career. So like, I remember playing overseas thinking like, all right, the money's cool. Yeah, the experience is also great, but this is also even helping me to become a more distinguished individual, right? I was intentional on learning the different culture and the different languages, right? But I'm thinking like, for me, I didn't come from a wealthy family or anything. So like, when we went to Cocoa Beach in Florida in 8th grade for AAU, like that was vacation for me for that year. Like my family didn't go on vacation, couldn't afford it, right? So I know there's kids worse off than me, and your kids like me who like, use basketball. And like even on that trip, I mean, it's hard to ask this of a freaking middle schooler, right? But lock in on that whole experience as well, right? Like not so zoned in on basketball. Like, I gotta get to the NBA. Like you want to be locked in, but
self-awareness and
it's like the whole package of this basketball thing. My teammates or our teammates from AAU and even my teammates from high school that didn't play in college or didn't play overseas, when I see them, you know what they talk about? You know what experiences they're talking about?
Every time.
High school you remember that game you remember that time at the YMCA when those are their stories. That's their experiences.
Remember that time we met Shaq?
Right.
We got to find those pictures, man.
I have the picture somewhere. Only thing is the picture I have is like a picture of a picture, potentially of a picture. So I gotta find the good quality. I think my mom has like the hard copy, like the actual, print out at ShopRite. Oh man, but no, this topic, bro, like you said, can go on and on and on. Was there anything like a particular event that happened throughout your career as an agent that made you become passionate about like really raising awareness on A, how to make basketball work for you, right? And then B, expectation versus reality.
Yeah, I don't think it was a specific event, but it's probably the culmination of my experience personally of how I used kind of the stepping stones to open up other doors. I knew that, using Quinnipiac as an opportunity was not to get to the NBA. I scored 7 career points. I think we all know that I was never playing anywhere after that. But then also that combination of the agent experience of like, man, I just learned the hard way. And if I don't tell people about this, so many players are going to learn the hard way themselves, where I can kind of shift their mindset either to have them go into it with a different mindset or pivot and say, look, basketball is not for me anymore. I'm good. And that's not always the goal, but it's at least to educate them on that process. So that's kind of what has turned me into like, and I love teaching and communicating, so I might as well combine everything I know and spread the good word to people and try and at least give them some of that knowledge to put them in a better spot.
Yo, that's tough, man. Guys, I want to end with this note. What was that, episode 9 of the Last Dance documentary? I think it was 9. I don't think it was 10. But either way, I forgot who it was speaking. Was it Kerr? You brought this up, so fix me if I'm wrong. But anyway, they talked about Jordan always being in the moment. Who was that?
I think it was Steve Kerr.
Yeah, I want to say it was Steve Kerr, but they talked about Jordan having a talent for always being in the now and in the moment, right? And where a lot of people lose in life is that they're always focused on the past and focused on.
Sorry to cut you off. It was one of the reporters that
yeah. I don't think. Yep. So one of the reporters was just talking about how great MJ was and why they felt he was great, which is what the whole documentary was. But they talked about being in the moment, and he was always in the moment, which is why he was able to handle the media and not go absolutely crazy. Why he was able to, never really be down on himself too long, always keep pushing forward and use anything in the past was fuel for the now, right? And anything in the future was fuel for the now. It was always about right now, right? So I wanted to use that moment to just kind of leave you all with this gem before we wrap it up here. All of you that are in basketball, young or old, but I know like me, I'm a coach, so I focus on the youngsters. As you're in basketball, take some of the pressure off of being so successful, scoring all the points, living in your dad's shoes, impressing all your friends. Remove all that pressure and really just enjoy playing the game and all the experiences that come with playing the game. Save every jersey you get, right? Make real friends. I played for like 5 AAU teams, honestly, and I should have way more friends from those moments. I wasn't always locked in on like, wow, I have 5 different groups of friends from all over New Jersey who could potentially be co-host on my podcast, right? Like I was too locked in on I want to be a Division I basketball player. Don't make the same mistake. Lock in on everything that the game has to offer, because you never know. I ended up later tearing my ACL senior year in college. I'm lucky to even play the professional career that I had. What if that got stripped away and I just couldn't ever hoop again, right? What was I taking away from the game? It took me to tear my knee to have this mindset that I'm sharing with you all. So if all of you who are listening could have this mindset at a young age, you're going to be much more fulfilled and get much more out of the game than I did and than most people do. Lock in on the full spectrum of the game and what basketball has to offer, and you'll have a much more happy life and happy career and success, not defined only by how many points you score. That is my gem. That's my Tarca gem right there. Usually Tarca hogs all the good gems.
Man. I mean, it's I don't got anything else for you. I mean, I think you summarized it perfectly, man. Use basketball and everything that comes with it. But at the end of the day, look in the mirror and ask yourself, who are you as a person if the ball stops dribbling tomorrow?
I like that. Who are you as a person if the ball stops dribbling tomorrow? Guys, listen, that is episode 27 of Hoop Chatter. We appreciate you guys chiming in. We can't wait to have Rob back. But next episode, we have a super special guest, Sean Light. I'm super excited to have him on. He's going to be the first strength and conditioning, right? Okay, cool. They all don't like to go by that title, but strength and conditioning coach on here. So I'm pumped for that. So make sure you guys tune in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, right? We want to continue to grow this thing, and follow us on Instagram at Hoop Chatter Podcast. Once again, I'm Art Morrison III here with my boy Kevin Tarca. Chat next time. Peace.